Word. I am so glad to be here with you today. So, Miss Hope has on a jacket because here in Philadelphia it's a little chilly, okay? I'm a little chilly, so I was like, oh, let me keep my jacket on because I'm a little chilly. But as you can see, I am back in the classroom at my school. So we are broadcasting from my school today. Hopefully, my young ones, older young ones, teacher friends, parent teacher friends, and all friends of Miss Hope's Reading Hour are having a great day in school. If you either go to school or work at a school or wherever you are, hopefully you are having an awesome, and most absolutely wonderful Wednesday today. Okay? Hopefully you had a terrific Tuesday as well. So, today I was thinking that we would read some books that have to do with kind of things that you don't know. Because today I became aware of some things that my students did not know that I thought they knew. I was like, wait a minute, you don't know this? Oh, we gotta make sure that you know these things. So, when I came in to look through my books, I was like, what are we going to read today? And I went right to one book and right to the next one. And I said, you know what? We are going to read these books today because these are things that you need to know. Now, we will not be able to go through everything that you young ones or older young ones need to know because there's so many things. As we get older, there are new things that we don't know that we need to learn. So, if I was to do that, this would be a very long broadcast. I would be broadcasting probably for the rest of my life because you are always learning. You will be learning your whole life, even when you are old and gray. You will be learning things that you need to know that you didn't know before. So today we're going to read a couple of books about some things that you need to know that you may not have known, okay? And of course, we will be continuing with Hello Universe. Friends, some friendships are meant to be. That is the little tagline underneath the title of the book. So we will be reading some more of that book again today. Remember, not last week, on Monday, we found out, never mind. See, I get excited about the chapter books too, okay? And so I want to start telling about it, but I'm like, just wait until chapter book time, okay, Miss Hope? Just wait, all right? So, we are reading our books today, but Miss Hope's Reading Hour library still needs more books, okay? So if you would like to donate to Miss Hope's Reading Hour library, look right down here in the ticker for the Cash App handle or the email address where you can send digital gift cards or send me a note and say, Miss Hope, I want to send you some books. And I will let you know just how to do that, okay? Now, let us get to the books we are reading today, okay? Our first book is called Froggy Eats Out. This book is by Jonathan London, illustrated by Frank, I'm not going to butcher this name, you guys, Remkewitz. I think that's what it is. Okay, illustrated by Frank Remkewitz. And as you can see down here, it is a scholastic book. So we will be reading Froggy Eats Out. Also, we will be reading Tacky in Trouble. What kind of trouble does Tacky here get into? This book is by Helen Lester, illustrated by Lynn Munsinger. Tacky in Trouble. And we will need to see who the publisher is once we get into the book, my friends. And of course, we will be continuing with Hello Universe, Some Friendships Are Meant to Be by Erin Entrada Kelly. Okay, so let us get into our first book, shall we? Froggy Eats Out by Jonathan London. It was almost dinner time, and Froggy was hungry, kind of like I'm hungry right now, because it's close to lunchtime. He sat in the kitchen and dreamed about burgers and flies. Of course, a frog would want that. Not me. Fries, not flies. Then he hopped up and looked for something to eat. He looked inside the cabinet. Slam. He looked in the fridge. Slam. He looked in the oven. Bang. Mom, yelled Froggy. There's nothing good to eat. Don't you feel like that sometimes? You're like, I want something good to eat. I just don't know what. I'm looking everywhere and I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that. Froggy, called his mother. What? Did you forget? It's our anniversary. We are going out to eat. Hooray, sang Froggy. Let's go. First, you have to get dressed up, dear. We're going to a fancy restaurant. So Froggy flopped to his bedroom. Flop, flop, flop. Yeah, you don't go just anywhere for your anniversary. He slipped off his shirt, unzipped his pants, took off his shoes, pulled off his socks, and even changed his underwear with a zap of elastic. Well, he wasn't kidding. He was like, I'm going to be fancy all the way down. Then he tugged on his best pants. Zip. Buttoned up his best shirt. Zip, zip, zip. Pulled on his best shoes. Zoop. And tied them up. Zip, zip. Then he put on his best bow tie. Snap. And flopped out to show his mom and dad. Flop, flop, flop. Looks pretty snazzy to me. You look very handsome, dear, said his mother. But you forgot to wash. Oops, said Froggy. What's the point of having on all those snazzy clothes if you're a little funky? So he went to the bathroom and washed his hands and face. Splash, splash, splash. He used lots and lots of water, but only a little bit of soap. Yeah, you gotta use nice amounts of soap. Then he dried off with a towel, swoop, and looked at himself in the mirror. He thought he was kind of cute. I think so too. Froggy, called his father. What? Time to go, said his dad. We'll be late. And off they flopped to the restaurant. Flop, flop, flop. At the restaurant, Froggy's eyes grew big and round. There were glowing candles, flowers in vases, and tablecloths as white as snow. This is a fancy restaurant, said Froggy. Yes, said his mother. So remember, be neat, be quiet, and don't put your feet on the table. When they were seated, Froggy said, I'm hungry, let's eat. First we have to order, dear, said his mother. I want a hamburger, said Froggy. No hamburgers here, said his father. Most fancy restaurants don't have burgers. When the waiter handed him a menu, Froggy opened it and knocked over a glass of water. Crash! Oops, cried Froggy. Oh, Froggy, said Mother. Remember what I told you? I know, said Froggy. Be neat, be quiet, and don't put your feet on the table. That was just an accident. But it was hard to be neat and quiet. He fidgeted. He shook salt on his hand and licked it. He banged his spoon on the table. Bang, bang, bang. Then he hit hard on the tip of the spoon and flipped it right into the waiter's head. Bonk. Uh-oh. After the waiter finally came and took their orders, they waited and waited and waited. Froggy pulled petals off the flowers. He blew on the candle. He sucked on sugar cubes and ice cubes. Then he hopped up and flopped around the restaurant. Flop, 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 singing, be neat, be quiet, and don't put your feet on the table. Froggy, his father called. What? Please sit down now. Oh boy. Froggy sat down. Finally, dinner was served. Froggy stuck his fork into a huge plate of spaghetti and sucked some up. Slurp. It was fun, so he slurped up some more. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Oh, that looks like quite a mess. And that's when he saw Frogalina. She was sitting with her parents. Hi, Froggy, called Frogalina. Who's that pretty girl frog? Asked his mother. She looks kind of cute, too. Froggy was so embarrassed. He ducked beneath the tablecloth and pulled and pulled and pulled till his spaghetti and fly sauce landed smack on his head. Splat. Oh, man. Oops, cried Froggy, looking more red in the face than green. Happy anniversary? He croaked. What a mess, cried his father. Oh, Froggy, said his mother. Froggy scooped spaghetti off his face and said, I know. Let's eat out at a Fast Flies place. Good idea, said Mother. Let's go, said his father, and together they leapfrogged all the way there. Flop, flop, flop. Where they all ate burgers and flies. Munch, crunch, munch. The end. So, our friend Froggy did not know how to behave himself in a restaurant. Now, sometimes it's easy for our young ones, especially, to know how to conduct themselves in like a fast food restaurant. But then when you go to a more fancy place, that can be a little more that you need to know, okay? So, Froggy came in and he said, let's eat. But you need to order first. When he got his food, he was like, I'm gonna eat now. But you gotta be a little more neat. And you can't flop around the restaurant. You gotta be neat, be quiet, and don't put your feet on the table. So, for my parent friends, my parent-teacher friends, this would be a good book for you to have that conversation with your students and with your young ones before you go to a restaurant. Because just because we know how to do something or we know things doesn't mean that automatically our young ones know how to do it. Even something as simple as going to a fancy restaurant. They may not know all of the rules and all of the things to do. So, this would be a good book to read so that before you go to one of those fancy restaurants, even a place that's fancier than McDonald's, but not as fancy as a really expensive place. Just some place kind of middle of the road. But the same rules apply. You have to order first. You have to wait for your food. And you have to wait quietly. That's why a lot of places have crayons and little things for you to draw and games for you to play at the table. Because that helps our young ones to be able to sit at the table and wait for their food. So, this is a very good book. I'm glad that I read this because this is something that young ones and sometimes our older young ones need to learn. How do you conduct yourself in a restaurant? I guarantee there's probably other books that show you how you conduct yourself in other places. So make sure that you look for books that before you take your young ones or older young ones places that you talk about. So when we go to this place, how do we conduct ourselves when we go? What do you think happens there? What do you think you need to do? What do the other people do there? So glad I got to read this book. Hopefully you will pick it up for your young ones and older young ones, okay? All right, now let's get to our next book. Tacky in Trouble by Helen Lester. And this is a Houghton Mifflin Company book. As goodly, lovely, angel neatly and perfect sang, sunrise on the iceberg, the sun rose on the iceberg. They felt very much in charge. I guess those are their names. What's happening? Blared Tacky the penguin, greeting each of his companions with a hearty slap on the back. After breakfast, the penguins went about the morning activities. Whether they were ice block building, napkin folding, feather combing, or ballroom dancing, Tacky was the odd bird. Then it was nap time. Nap time for all, that is, but Tacky. They're like, we're ready to take a nap. He's like, I'm ready to be awake. What a great day for surfing, he cried. Would that be fun or what? It would be what? Said goodly, lovely, angel, neatly and perfect. Go surfing if you must, but please do it quietly. So Tacky took off alone and coasted over the waves. Suddenly, the wind came up, filling his shirt like a sail, and he found himself blowing full speed ahead out to sea. He loved the spray on his beak and the thrill of the ride. Whoa. I'd be a little scared of that. On he sailed, and on through sunny days and starlit nights. By the time he finally reached land, he was standing on tippy webs on an ice cube. With his little heart beating in excitement, Tacky waddled ashore, ready for an adventure. Where did he stop? He went days and nights? Let's see where he ended up. After being greeted by the strangest penguins he'd ever seen, he came upon a large gray rock. How nice! He had lots of rocks at home. Funny, thought Tacky, this rock is warm. The rocks he knew were cold. And it's a little squishy. The rocks he knew were hard and sort of hairy. Hairy? He couldn't remember any hairy rocks back in the iceberg. Funny looking penguins, huh? Tacky never could sit still for long, so he did the little rock hopping dance he'd always enjoyed doing at home. I don't need shoes, and I don't need socks, just my mellow yellow feet for hopping on rocks. Hey! I don't need shoes, I don't need socks, just my mellow yellow feet for hopping on rocks. Hey! I don't! What happens? Let's see. Suddenly, the rock rose up and a voice louder than any penguin's, a voice louder than even Tacky's, boomed, "Something is tickling my back." Before Tacky could ask what's happening, the rock, whose name happened to be Rocky, grabbed him, and they were crashing through the jungle. The rock was an elephant. Oh my goodness. Tacky loved adventures, but was this fun or what? He wasn't sure. Finally, Rocky came to a very gray clearing, plunked Tacky down, and bellowed, flowers for my table. While Tacky was puzzled, Rocky was overjoyed, for she had taken one look at Tacky's shirt and was convinced she had brought home the most beautiful bunch of flowers in the world. Yes, indeedy, just what I needed to brighten up this dreary old place. Let's see, I need a wide vase. It's a gorgeous bunch of flowers and pretty thick around the stem area. Yeah, I don't think that's a stem, friend. I think that's Tacky's little body. After choosing her widest vase, Rocky plopped Tacky in and he looked around. The table was set for dinner, with ketchup and lemon pie and grape punch and gravy and mustard and marmalade and peanut butter and lots of other good things. Rocky gallumped gleefully around the table singing, "Flowers make all the difference, flowers make all the difference." "I'm not a bunch of flowers," said Tacky. "Say what?" Rocky trumpeted. "Of course you're a bunch of flowers, don't be silly." She sniffed Tacky. "You smell lovely too." "Thank you," said Tacky, "but I'm not a bunch of flowers. I'm a penguin." Rocky eyed Tacky suspiciously. "What's a penguin? Some sort of weird plant?" "No," offered Tacky, "it's a kind of bird." "A bird," snorted Tacky. "What a hoot! You're not like any bird I've ever seen." Tacky felt his neck feathers prickle uncomfortably. "I'm really, honestly, truly a penguin," he repeated. Rocky did not want to hear this. She wanted flowers. She needed those flowers, and her dull gray home needed those flowers. "If you're a penguin, prove it," Rocky demanded. Then she reached out. Whoosh! She snatched Tacky's shirt. "At least I'm keeping the pretty blossoms, no matter what." "Well, unless you can convince me you're a penguin." Tacky knew he was in trouble now. His shirt was his sail, and without his shirt, how would he get home? Would he ever see goodly, lovely, angel, neatly, or perfect again? I don't know. Gotta get to proving to Rocky that you're a penguin. "Hurry up now, I'm hungry, and I don't have all day," snapped Rocky impatiently. "Prove you're a penguin. Do something penguinish." Tacky thought very hard. He just had to show her. Oh yes, he remembered. Penguins march. He began. 1, 2, 3, stepped in the ketchup bowl without knowing it, and continued marching over the table. 4, 5, 17, 100. "What else?" asked Rocky. "Like, what else can you do? This is not doing it for me." Penguins belly slide. Tacky got a running start, skidded across the lemon pie, and swished in swirls over the tablecloth. Where was that lemon smell coming from? "Go on," ordered Rocky. Penguins dive. Tacky took a bounding leap up and did a splashy cannonball into the pitcher of grape punch. Refreshing. More confused than convinced, Rocky asked, "And?" "Keep going." Wow. Tacky completely messed up her dinner. What else? What else could penguins do? Then he remembered what had gotten him into this situation in the first place, and he said, "Penguins are excellent hoppers." Bravely tilting his beak Up in his best proper hopping form, he hopped in the gravy and hopped on the cloth, and hopped in the mustard, and hopped on the cloth, and hopped in the marmalade, and hopped on the cloth, and hopped in the peanut butter, and stopped. That poor dinner table. That dinner's done. Then he waddled stickily over to Rocky. See, he shrugged hopefully, I'm a penguin. Rocky looked at her red, yellow, purple, brown, gold, orange, and tan tablecloth and bellowed, What have you done to my tablecloth? Tacky froze. He had been having fun doing penguin things and hadn't even realized that he made a mess. Uh-oh, he thought. I'm stuck here forever. I'll never get home to my iceberg. My tablecloth, hooted Rocky. I love it. I simply love it. Look at those colors. They're brilliant. They're beautiful. And they're so much prettier than your blossoms. No offense. Here you go, you wonderful odd whatever you are. With that, she picked up Tacky's shirt and flipped him into it. She also threw him a hot dog, a cookie, and 3 kisses. Thank you, she trumpeted as Tacky waved goodbye and set out for the water's edge. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh, did I mistake that? He leapt onto a log, thinking, I don't know how ice blocks came in brown. And as his shirt caught the wind sail, tongue-tied, and as his shirt caught the wind, he set sail. Meanwhile, back on the iceberg, Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect were singing, Sunrise on the iceberg. The sun rose, but they didn't feel in charge. Life just hadn't been the same without Tacky. Everything was so orderly, and they were tired of patting each other on the back and whispering, What is happening? Nothing was happening. Then they saw a speck in the distance. Could it be? As the speck came closer and closer, they could see it was Tacky. Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect hugged Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird, but a nice bird to have around. And many miles away, an elephant sat by her colorful tablecloth and thought the same thing. The end. I mean, it is pretty nice looking abstract picture. So, such a good story. I'm so glad I got to read it with you all. So, Tacky did not know what an elephant was, didn't know what parrots looked like. Rocky didn't know what a penguin looked like, didn't know what an iceberg was either. Tacky didn't know what a log was. He thought the brown log was an ice cube. So, I like this book because it talks about things that we don't know, but it also talks about something that we don't know that we usually don't think about. 2 things, being different and being considerate. It is okay to be different. Some people are different. Some people are quiet. Some people are loud. Some people are messy. Some people are neat. Some people like to stay awake late. Some people like to go to bed early. Some people like to get up early. Some people like to get up a little later. And it's okay for you to be different in that way. We're all different like that in my family. But even in you being different, you still have to be considerate of other people's differences. So, all of the other penguins liked it to be quiet, especially when they were about to take a nap. But Tacky was ready to have a party because he slept a little later. But was that really being considerate if you're being really loud when someone needs it to be quiet? Not very. Now Rocky was not considerate because she didn't take time to figure out that Tacky was not a bouquet of flowers. She just took him and scooped him up. But also, because of things that Tacky didn't know, he didn't know that a big, gray, hairy, squishy rock was really an elephant. So, we need to be open to learning new things. We need to be open to recognizing that other people are different from us, but also in those differences, we have to have respect for those people and be considerate. So, if you know that you're messy, but someone else is neat, you can be messy sometimes, but you gotta try to be neat. If you know that you're loud, you gotta try to be considerate and maybe not be loud all the time. And if someone likes to sleep a little later, you need to be considerate and move around kind of quietly so you won't wake them up. So that's the reason I like this book. There are so many lessons that you could learn in Tacky in Trouble. So glad I got to read that book with you guys today. Now, let us get to, I dropped my book, Hello Universe, okay? You know we got to change the ambiance, right? Always have to do that when we're reading our chapter book. Just a moment. So all that you hear outside, that is recess time. So the kids are outside at recess. So one thing you need to know about Miss Hope, listening to children laugh and play outside, one of my favorite sounds of all time. I love that sound. Sometimes I just sit and listen. Helps me to relax, actually, especially if they're not getting on each other's nerves. All right, so let's get into Hello Universe. All right, so we were in chapter 3, almost at the end of chapter 3. So we learned that Virgil is actually the boy. And what is the girl's name again? What is the girl's name? Wait a minute. What is the girl's name? The girl's name is... I'm trying to find her name. Just a second. Let me see. What is the girl's name? So Virgil is the boy, and Kaori. Kaori is the girl who's deaf. Okay? So we've learned that Virgil, he has a very sports-oriented family, but he's not much into sports. They're into soccer a whole lot. His grandmother thinks that he should play the piano because he has such beautiful fingers. Because he was trying to notice, like, What's so different about me? My whole family, they all seem to be just like each other. And I seem to be the odd person out, kind of like tacky. So he's trying to figure out, well, what's, different about me? He noticed that his brother's little finger kind of bends, brother's little fingers bend in, but he has perfect looking hands. And his grandmother thinks, I think that you should play the piano because you have piano playing fingers. His parents, on the other hand, think that he should play sports because that's what boys should be doing. But he doesn't think so. So his grandmother said that she will talk to his parents. And because he feels like such the odd person out at home, just like Kaori, he's feeling a little lonely. And he recognizes that his pet guinea pig, Gulliver, also feels lonely because I learned something new. Guinea pigs need another guinea pig when they're pets because they're very social creatures and they will get lonely. I did not know that. Okay? So, let us read the rest of chapter 3, next going to chapter 4 of Hello Universe. He's okay, but last night I read online, guinea pigs aren't supposed to live alone because they're very social animals. So Gulliver's alone. Is that what's bothering you? His grandmother's asking. Gulliver had nothing to do with his grand failure. And normally Virgil wouldn't tell a lie. But this was a situation where yes would kill 2 birds with 1 stone, or feed 2 birds with 1 seed, as Kaori liked to say. He might get another guinea pig, and Lola would stop asking about his sorrowful face. So he said, yes? Lola nodded. She didn't understand why anyone would want a pet guinea pig, but everyone knew what it was like to be lonely. I'll talk to your mother, she said. Chapter 4, Bells of the Buddhist Monastery. 12-year-old Kaori Tanaka, a proud Gemini, liked to tell people her parents were born in the high, misty mountains of a samurai village. In truth, they were both second-generation Japanese Americans from Ohio. No matter, Kaori knew in her bones that they were meant to be born in the mountains. Sometimes people were just delivered to the wrong birthplace. How else could she explain her powers of second sight, which could only come from someplace magical? Kaori was mildly surprised to get a text from one of her clients, her only client, truth be told, on the first day of summer, particularly at 7:45 in the morning. But the night before, just as she was gliding to sleep, she had the vision of a hawk perched on a giant fence post. Only now she realized it must have been a vulture, not a hawk. Vulture started with V, just like Virgil's name. The connection couldn't have been clearer. She was already awake and believed in waking up with the dawn whenever possible when she heard the bells of a Buddhist monastery chime from her phone. A text message alert. She snatched it immediately and read Virgil's message. This must be a matter of some urgency, she said from her bed. She liked to talk aloud when she was alone, just in case any spirits were listening. After replying to the text, Kaori lit a stick of incense, walked across her zodiac circle rug, and stepped into the hallway. She knocked gently on her younger sister's bedroom door. No one was awake yet, least of all 7-year-old Jen. Jen was a Cancer. Morning wasn't her best time of day. Cancers were notorious night owls. Knocking is fruitless, Kaori said. She opened the door and once again assaulted and mildly offended by her sister's hot pink dresser, hot pink curtains, hot pink rug, and hot pink comforter. It was truly the room from a second the room of a second grader, complete with teddy bears scattered all over the floor and plastic teacups and teapots toppled here and there. Jen was monstrously untidy. She also had a tendency to run through hobbies. Jen was determined to become the champion of something one day. It used to be hopscotch, then monkey bars, then checkers. There was a discarded recorder on the floor that she had once planned to master, and a chapter book on Abraham Lincoln from the time she decided to become an amateur historian. A pink jump rope lay coiled like a snake near the foot of the narrow twin bed, evidence of her latest obsession. One day, she'll mature, Kiori said to the spirits. She walked up to her sister and kicked the jump rope out of the way with a sigh of irritation. Jen had been jump roping around the house for a week straight, driving everyone mad. She'd already broken 3 water glasses. Jen, Kaori said, poking her sister's shoulder, wake up. We have a client coming today, and we need to prepare. Jen's eyelids fluttered, but didn't open. Jen, Kaori poked a little harder. Her sister was wearing bunny print pajamas. Really? Get up, Jen grumbled, pulled the comforter over her head. Kaori smoothed the front of her own pajamas, coal black, with red trim, and said, okay then, I'll just prepare the spirit stones alone. Jen tossed off the covers, eyes wide. Her dark hair stuck up in every direction. You're using the spirit stones? I have reason to suspect I'll need them. Just a sense. But if you're too busy sleeping, I'm getting up, she said. Meet me in the spirit chamber, Kaori said. She waved toward Jen's pajamas. But get rid of those bunnies first. So, Kaori is some kind of psychic, I guess? We will have to see on our Fabulous Friday broadcast, my friends. Well, I am so glad I got to read with you all today these 2 great books and our latest excerpt from Hello Universe. Well, my friends, we are at the end of our broadcast for today. So glad to be with you today. I cannot wait to be with you on our Fabulous Friday. Have a thankful Thursday. Find something to be thankful for. And I will see you next time. Until then, my friends,